Dear students, welcome to the e-learning program. I am Dr.S.SAMBATH, Assistant Professor, PhD and Research Department of Commerce, St.Joseph College of Art and Science, Autonomous, Cuddalore. In this video, we are going to discuss about the types of share capital. While we discuss about the issue of shares, we must know about the various types of share capital. First, let me discuss the meaning of share capital. First, we should understand what do you mean by share capital. Right. If you take the companies for their operational activities, the company needs money for their business operation. While at the time of need money or any other financial requirement for the company, ultimately the company go for the issue of shares, right? The share capital means it's the amount raised by the company by the way of issue the shares to the investor. It means the company collect the money from the different investors and then they start the business and then they fulfill their capital requirement to carry out their operational activities. So the share capital means it's a comprise of the capital that they are created or generated of funds from the common public by the way of issue of shares. The issue of shares may be a cash consideration or non-cash consideration. It may be either cash consideration or non-cash consideration. Cash consideration means the company collect the money from the common public and then they issue the shares. In case of non-cash consideration means, for example, the company take the sum of the assets of the investor and then they give the shares to the particular investor. So it's a non-cash consideration. Next, we will discuss the types of share capital. The first one, authorized share capital, and then the authorized share capital divided into two categories. First one, issued capital and another one, unissued capital. And then that issued capital are further classified into two categories, subscribed capital and unsubscribed capital. And then that subscribed capital is classified into further classification, called up capital, uncalled up capital. And then the called up capital classified into two categories, paid up capital and costs and arrears. In case of uncalled up capital, unreserved capital, reserved capital. These are the different the types of share capital. I think this chart it may be helpful for you to understand what are the different types of share capital. Let me discuss one by one what are the different types of share capital. The first one we are going to discuss about authorized share capital. That authorized share capital, otherwise known as nominal capital. It means authorized. It means recognized. So authorized capital means it's the amount of capital specified in the capital class of memorandum. For example, if the company they want to collect the capital from the shareholders, at the time of formation they have to prepare the memorandum of association. In the memorandum of association itself, they have to mention in future for our company, in future for our financial requirement, this much of amount or this much of capital we can collect from the common public. Like that, from the formation itself, they have to get the authorization, they have to get the permission. That is called authorized capital. So it is the maximum amount that the company can raise by the way of issue of shares. So the maximum amount can be raised as per the procedure laid down in the company side. It means, for an example, I am a company X. Why at the time of formation itself, I clearly mentioned in future I will fulfill my capital requirement up to, I can issue the shares up to amount of rupees 5 lakh. So this is the authorized capital. It means the company in future they can collect the amount up to rupees 5 lakhs only. Beyond that, they are not able to issue the shares, because in the memorandum of association itself they are clearly mentioned that authorized capital is rupees 5 lakh. So they get the permission, authorized permission only up to 5 lakhs. So beyond that, they are not able to issue the shares to the common public. So authorized capital, it means is a maximum amount the company can issue in future. And then the second one, issued capital. Issued capital is the part of authorized capital which is offered by the company to the general public for subscription. For example, if the authorized share capital of the company is rupees 1 lakh divided into 10 shares, rupees 10 face value per share, then the company that issued capital cannot be more than rupees 1 lakh. So issued capital means after getting that authorization, and out of authorized capital, how much shares the company going to issue the common capital. Issued, the name itself is clearly given. Issued capital means the shares issued by the company to the investor. And then third one, unissued capital. Once at the time of formation of the company get the permission, the company get the maximum amount of capital mentioned in the memorandum of association. And then after getting the maximum permission, the maximum ceiling amount, then the company go for the issue process. While at the time of issuing the shares, there is not necessary the company issue all the shares at one time, or the company can issue the shares all the authorized share capital. Based on their financial requirement, based on their financial need, the company go for issue of shares. Sometimes the entire authorized share capital may be issued. In some cases, the entire authorized share capital cannot be issued. So unissued capital means there's a portion, it's a part of authorized capital. It is not, or there is not offered to the public right now, but in future, based on the company requirement, in future the company issue this capital to the public. Okay, but right now this shares is not offered to the public. If you see then the first example that issued capital rupees 1 lakh, from the above example, the issued capital is rupees 80,000, then unissued capital rupees 20,000. It means out of 1 lakh that authorized capital rupees 1 lakh, out of 1 lakh rupees 80,000 only issued to the common public, for an example. So 20,000 is not offered to the common public right now. So in this case, this 20,000 treated as an unissued capital. And then third one, subscribed capital. Subscribe, the word itself is clearly given. Subscribe, subscription, asking. Subscribed capital is a part of issued capital that actually subscribed by the general public. It means it talk about the public subscription about the shares. For an example, the company issued 8,000 shares at rupees 10 each to the common public, but the common public they subscribe only up to 7,500 shares. Why it's happened? For an example, it may happen for the newly started company. The newly started company, they may not have the people not aware about the newly started company. So in this case, the demand for the particular company shares is low. So the company may issue 8,000 shares, but the common public were offered only 7,500 shares. Then this 7,500 shares is called as subscribed capital. So subscribed capital means the capital subscribed by the public to the company. It's called subscribed capital. And then the next one, unsubscribed capital. It's unsubscribed capital is a part of issued capital that is not subscribed by the public. It means, in the previous example we discussed that 8,000, the company issued 8,000 shares to the common public, but only 7,500 shares were subscribed by the public. So remaining 500 shares, the public is not subscribed to the company. So in this case, these 500 shares is called as unsubscribed capital. It means these shares is not subscribed or not asked by the public to the company. So this portion, this unsubscribed portion of capital is called unsubscribed capital. The next one, called up capital. Called up, asking. It's a part of subscribed capital that is called up by the director of the company or director from the shareholders of a company to pay the shareholders. They may ask the money from the shareholders. For an example, the face value of shares may be 10, but right now the company need amount only rupees 6 per share. So in this case, the company issued, the people also subscribed, people also asking the shares, the face value of shares rupees 10. The company also allotted the shares to the investor, but now the company asking only 6 out of 10. Actually, the shareholders they have to pay rupees 10 per share, but right now the company asking out of 10, now you give only 6. Later on you give the remaining portion. Like that they are asking. So what the portion of the amount, what the portion of the capital asked by the company to the shareholder, it's called a called up. What amount they are calling right now, that is called a called up. Okay. From the shareholders, for an example, out of 10,000 to pay, then 60,000 is recorded as called up. The same example. Okay, for an example, rupees 1 lakh. If you take that issued capital, rupees 1 lakh, face value rupees 10 per share. So out of 10 per share, now the company is asking only 6. So 10,000 into 6, you make it 60,000, and this 60,000 is called up capital. And then the next one, uncalled up capital. The uncalled capital, the previous example itself I clearly explained. The company issued the shares. The face value of 1 share is rupees 10. Out of 10, the company now they are asking rupees 4. The remaining portion now they are asking rupees 6. The remaining portion of 4 they are not asking now. But here, now uncalled capital means it's a part of subscribed capital which is not called up till now, but the company they can collect, they can call up in future as per based on the need of the company. For example, in the previous example, out of 10, rupees 6 were called up. Here, remaining rupees 4 were left. This is called a uncalled capital. So here, for an example, 10,000 shares, rupees 10 each. Out of 10, rupees 6, company called rupees 6. So 10,000 into 6, 60,000 is called up capital. But company out of the 10,000 shares, the company is not called for rupees 4 per share. Therefore, 10,000 into 4, 40,000. This 40,000 is called uncalled up capital. The next one, paid up capital. The paid up capital is also called up share capital, which actually received from the shareholders. The paid up share capital, it means the company asking rupees 10 per share. The company also allowed the shares to the investor. After confirming the shares to the shareholders, they have to pay the money to the company. So paid up capital means how much amount or how much capital the company received from the shareholders that is called paid up capital. Okay, so here we can take one example. If the entire called up money rupees 4, for example, the entire called up money rupees 4 for 1000 shares has been received except from the shareholders holding 300 shares, then paid up share capital out of 1000 into 4, 4000 minus 1200, remaining 2800. So the amount of 1200 is called calls in arrears, then it has been called up but unpaid. Once again I repeat, paid up capital, it means paid by the shareholders to the company, it is called paid up capital. I once again repeat, paid up capital means the amount paid by the shareholders to the company. From the company point of view, the company received, right now the company received the money from the shareholder, it is called paid up capital. The unreceived money, the company not received any money from the shareholders, that is called calls in arrears. The next one, reserve capital. Reserve capital, as per section 99 of the Companies Act, a limited company may call up any portion of uncalled share capital at the wind up. It means, for example, it is not necessary the company can issue all the shares at the beginning itself. Some portion of capital the company they will not issue to the common public, but those shares it can be offered to the common public at the time of wind up or at the time of liquidation for the purpose of to give the payment to the creditor. This amount of uncalled share capital cannot be used for any other purpose and is reserved for paying back the creditor. That's why such portion of share capital is called reserved capital. Thank you.